A lot of fun intro stuff there, bro.
Yeah, great intro stuff. Great. I wish
Great
it'd be better
intro
than the
stuff. Great
Chargers. I
intro
mean,
stuff.
freak. It's interesting, man. Like
Yeah.
this team, man.
It
I don't even
it's
know what to say
almost
because
hard to
it's
put
so
into words.
bothering. It's so much,
Yes,
so frustrating.
it's hard to put into words, right? Like
Yeah.
first thing I put in the chat thread is fire Lombardi, guys. What do you guys think? Let's hear your thoughts. What went wrong? What went wrong? Let's have the conversation right now. What are we struggling at as fans and as a team in general? What is going on? Because, dude, we look like hot shit. We looked horrible, dude. Like, I'm not joking. We looked absolutely like dog shit. It was terrible. Now, say what you want to say about the defense, but the offense looked like hot garbage from beginning to end. JC Jackson is clearly gone.
Yeah.
Looks like Williams is apparently injured. Who knows what's going on with Allen? But oh my God, guys, like what happened? Like, I want everyone's thoughts. Guys, this is literally just put your thoughts in the chat below. What do you think? What happened? I mean, I have my thoughts. I kind of want to go off what you guys think. But oh my God, dude. Guys, it's unbelievable.
It's just bad. It's just bad football, bad preparation, bad, like just execution, bad on trying to make an adjustments, bad on. It's just so many levels. Like the thing about it is like, and I was just talking to Andrew just before on the show that we're starting. I was like, Lombardi is the scapegoat for sure, but you got to start thinking about everybody else at this point because. Lombardi's only one part of the equation to this. Now you start kind of shifting a little bit. Defensive coordinator, start looking at him. You start thinking Brandon Staley. Start thinking about him because once again, we're 4-3, but I think we've gotten away with the last 3 weeks of getting away with just wins and just finding these lucky little ways to win a game and. We're finding ways to be able to shoot ourselves in the foot at the same time. I mean, what is this? 3 games in a row where we've given up about 10 to 14 points right from the get-go, right out the gate. And we're instantly putting ourselves in a deficit right from the get-go. And that's not winning football, guys. That's called coaching. And if you don't come out with a game plan that's setting you up for success, and setting yourself up for failure immediately. Because I looked at our stats. First quarter, we averaged 3 points a quarter this season so far.
The
Seahawks, the last 3 games. That's terrible.
100% coaching.
That's terrible. I mean, that is pathetic. Bottom line, Saw Man 4 right now just said that. That is absolutely pathetic. And, okay. Bye weeks are a resetting week.
We almost can't even talk right now. Look,
I'm frustrated.
And just so James and I are just so frustrated. We were going back and forth. We had this whole thing. We tried to get Coach Defense to hop on, another person we brought on before. And guys, like it's so bad. Like we almost can't even put into words how horrible this is in general, right? And anyways, continue, James. I apologize for chat with you there. Continue your thought there. I know you're frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you start a game, you generally have a set plays. You have about 15, 20 plays that you want to go with, defensively, offensively.
Correct.
And we are seeing basically terrible execution. We're seeing 100%. Underperforming on every single level. We're seeing coaching decisions that are a little questionable. Like, once again, like I'm a big fan of Staley. But you start kind of thinking a little bit like, man, this guy might be in over his head. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be like I'm not trying by any means to be able to be like, hey, we're going to be a stream where we got to fire Staley or whatnot. But hey, that drum is beating louder right now for that whole Sean Payton conversation right now. The more this continues, that drum's going to keep coming. And he
Yeah.
was at the Monday night game in a box, by the way, for the Bronco game. So he's there for a reason to look at this team and see what's on this team. So I just cannot believe how this team performs. It's just embarrassing. It is an absolute embarrassing game to watch. I mean, and then once again, it's just one game. I get it, but the last 3 games have been very much kind of the same way we start. We start in a deficit, find our way to crawl back. We get lucky at some point. Guys, we should be steamrolling teams. We just got smoked by a team that ran 200 plus yards on us, and we have a much better defense. Assume we do, and we only got under, I think, 30 yards total rushing on the worst rush defense team in the league. Actually, 30th ranked defense in the league.
Yeah. I mean, stopping the run. Yeah,
it's terrible. Like, dude.
Yeah,
terrible. And I mean, Isaiah Spiller got 1 carry. That was his thing for -5 yards. That was it.
-5 yards. Yeah.
Dude, I don't know, man. Andy, I want you to rant because I'm about to just take my laptop here and throw it against the roof or room or whatever. Just crush that thing.
Okay. So, all right, one bit of positivity, I would say our special teams looks great, guys. We could punt the ball off. Looks great, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's hard, right? Like, as fans, look, the bottom line, I would say this: we need to fire Lombardi. Period. Right? I've consistently said over and over again. I've done 3 or 4 videos on how bad he's been as a play caller. Here's the thing: we have too much talent on this team to be this bad. Okay, too much talent. There's no point. So, and this is kind of why I'm highlighting Aether's conversation, trying to make it change the buy. I think the change the buy needs to be Lombardi, right? And then secondarily, if the ship doesn't turn around, then Staley's on the chopping block at the end of the season. Because, look, you're in Los Angeles, man. This is where you get your head cut off real quick, right?
Yep.
And say what you want to say about Brandon Staley. As much as I like the guy, I love Brandon Staley. I think he's a fantastic coach. I love the way he communicates. I think he's awesome. I think he'll be a fantastic coach. But look, there comes a point where people need to start winning. And the amount of money that has been spent this year on this team, sorry, dude, it doesn't work out, right? Yeah. And for us San Diego fans, Padres wet the bed again today. So it's kind of a double whammy on all of us. So James and I are a little bit more upset because we're both Padres fans as well, too. So it's like, oh, my God, I'm going to jump off this bridge right outside my house real quick. So this is going to be the last video of the Chargers Bolt Bros here. So
this is it. R.I.P., baby. We done.
See ya.
Deuces. We done. See ya,
Gone.
Dude. In the stream. Let's go.
No, but okay, guys. So okay, and I'm highlighting what you guys are saying, right? And look, fire Lombardi. It's hard, man. I mean, I feel like, look, don't get me wrong. Do I respect the Seahawks to some degree? To some degree, I think Pete Carroll's a very good coach, but they made us look stupid, right? Yeah. And you could argue all day. Well. Is it the Chargers or is it the Seahawks? I'm 100% going to say it's the Chargers. I've been talking to my friend all through the game, and he's a Seahawks fan. And, like, bottom line, a game like that, we gave up. It's almost like we didn't even show up. We just didn't decide to play the game at this point, right? That's my point, right? And I don't mind a close game. Because you know what? At the end of the day, we lose in a close game. It was competitive. We tried. But when you do not show up on both sides of the ball and you just wet the bed, literally like a baby wetting the bed, that's a problem. So anyways, we ranted. So you ranted, I ranted. Do we want to become more positive now at this point? What do you think, guys? Should we become more positive at this point?
Yeah. I'll give you one more situation where the game was lost, in my opinion. It was in third quarter. when the Seahawks had a 17-play, 77-yard drive for 10 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yes, just destroyed us. Just chewed up
Just
clock.
the play that killed this game for us and destroyed our chances for this game was the 3rd and 11 that got Geno Smith passed to Tyler Lockett for 12 yards with Asante Samuel on the coverage. And then Geno Smith pumped his fist like, yeah, look at that. Look at what I did. I'm Tom Brady on the field because I played the Chargers. So, like, it was just like that's where the game was lost. And then it ended in a field goal. But regardless, being 10 minutes on the field for a defense is like an eternity for them.
Yeah.
And that's not good football. And it's weird because, like, this team has so much freaking talent to it, but they just cannot perform highly. Like they're missing something. They're missing that extra gear. So like the Chargers, like I'll give an idea for like the Padres, and how they played. Now this is once again not a channel to talk about the Padres, but hey, their goal was let's beat the Dodgers. They beat the Dodgers. There were so many videos of the players out in like gas lamp and all these bars buying drinks, like swear like they won the World Series. And then guess what they do? Game 1 against the Phillies, they get one hit on a 1-run game. And their mind was like, we did what we needed to do and we wanted to beat the Dodgers when it hurt them the worst. But they had to go in front of another series and they just sucked. Like the Chargers to me, like they have all this talent in the world and then they just don't perform. Like it's like once again, going back in the offseason, they talked about, hey, we're just a paper team. We're a paper team. Okay, cool. Like, paper team, cool. You guys know you're talented, cool. You're not showing it on the field at all on this.
Yeah, you're not. That's a very different conversation. 100%.
Completely different. And once again, like we got to start thinking coaching more than anything on this point because I'm going to keep talking a little bit about that beat of that drum getting about Sean Payton. I mean, it's going to start getting louder. I mean, we're going to go into bye week. This is your reset week. You better come out against the Falcons and destroy them. You better. And the thing is, though, the Falcons aren't the team to walk on either. Like,
they're not.
Can't go in there and just do it. Like, they actually had a pretty good game. And they were, dude, I think Marcus Mariota threw a couple bombs this game. And I was like, yo, he's got an arm. Like, he really has some skill sets there. So, once again, this second half of the season ain't going to be easy for us. And especially the way we play here, this thing's going to unravel real quick.
Okay, so maybe we should discuss this. What do we do with the bye, guys? Right? I want your thoughts on that. Bye week, what do we do to get the ship going the right direction? Because here's the thing, guys. Let's sum up the season so far, right? And guys, a lot of our videos that we're going to be doing moving forward the next couple of this week and the rest of this week and then the bye week, which is next week. What are the Chargers going to do? My prediction is they fire Lombardi. I think that needs to happen. But here's my question. Who takes over? Shane Day, quarterback coach?
Yep.
I mean, he's kind of a Muppet to me, right? Like he seems like an interesting guy, but I don't really know that he's really the right guy to take over, right? So I get a little stressed out about him taking over. That's kind of my prediction. I mean, he's a quarterback coach. But look, the thing is, we've been winning ugly. We've been winning very ugly. And that eventually catches up to you. And no disrespect to the Seahawks, we gave them this game. Okay. Yeah. I truly do not believe there's a difference between being competitive and being not competitive. We were not competitive in this game at all. A Seahawks fan will say, oh, we just smoked you guys. And there's some Seahawks fans in here. Great. Thank you. Subscribe, like us. And really, I appreciate you being on. I know you just want to troll us and that's fine. But my point is that there's a time when a team just does not show up. And that's what this was. Yep. We did not show up at all.
Yep.
At all. And they're, like to be fair, like we did not show up. Now, so my point is like, look, even if it's a shootout, at least we score points. Well, we didn't even do that. And Herbert, arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and again, Seahawks fans say, wow, we got amazing corners and we shut them down. No, we just didn't have a good game plan is really what I see. because there comes a point where you have to look at what really is going wrong under the hood. And you're right. I think it's coaching. I think offensively, we just haven't done a good job of doing anything worth a damn.
Yeah.
So, again, what do you guys think we should do at the bye? I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Again, the whole point of this channel that we want is to discuss what's going on. By the way, Wildcat, I love what you said here, by the way. Chargers to put, Staley and Lombardi on IR. I think it's hilarious to me because truly, like Lombardi needs to go, period. Yeah. And honestly, our defense hasn't looked great.
Yep.
JC Jackson's out. I don't know, guys. I mean, it's bad. And this is a good one too, Manny. I like this. Chargers. Oh no, wrong person. Yeah, Chargers look hungover, 100%. They were out there having a freaking rager. We looked horrible. So okay, I said my piece. I think we fire Lombardi at the bye. We install somebody else. We do something different offensively. What's your thoughts, James? What we do at the bye week to try and right the ship? And guys, in the chat, what do we do at the bye week to figure things out?
Yeah, so Steve Doyle just said it right now, and I was just about to say, and a couple other people talked about it too. He said, you know what? Slow receivers. How many rushing yards did we have? 40. Not going to get it done with slow receivers. Yep. That was actually H4.
H4.
Yep. And then Steve Doyle says trade for a speed wide receiver. Absolutely. That Jalen Guyton injury really changed this whole team. We don't really have a downfield threat at this point. We're doing a lot of stick routes and just kind of flat out routes. Like, we're not doing anything out. We're just doing basically just small little turnarounds, nothing big. It's very, very vanilla. And so we need a guy out there to push things around and really spread out the field a little bit further for us. And that's where, I did a video about Elijah Moore. I mean, they say they don't want to trade the guy, but they didn't play him this weekend for a reason. They want to make sure he's healthy.
They're going to trade him.
They need to trade. So this is the time to do it. Mike Will, from what I'm hearing, it was an ankle injury. It's not a knee injury. So, I mean, we got a couple weeks for him to heal up. Keenan Allen, he's pretty beat up. When we don't have them on the field, guess what? We're not a threat at any point at this point. So we have to go out there. Wildcat, that's what I'm saying. Elijah Moore would be killer. I hear some calls about Brandon Cook too, from the Texans, which we had conversations about him.
Yep, agreed.
Before the season. But really, we need speed. We need speed. And it's harsh to watch. But as in for the offensive coordinator, Lombardi has to go. This is the time you make a switch. This is the time when you implement a new mind in that position. Shane Day has to be that guy. Now, the thing about him, he came out of that Shanahan system, out of the Niners side of things. So maybe he's going to implement some of the Shanahan type of plays, which Shanahan does a good job. I think he's not a bad.
Very good.
He's not a bad head coach, and he does a pretty good job of making good offenses. Very run heavy. But I think that's something that I think we just have to make a shift somewhere. I mean, this is bad. This is I don't understand where we could go with these guys. Like, it's just so frustrating to watch a team that we had such a high hope to where they just come out of here. Now, once again, positivity. We're 4-3 still. We're 4-3. Yeah. I'll just give a positivity. 4-3. I think 3 of those losses are, I could say 2 of those losses actually. We got smoked, by the way. Jaguars and the Seahawks. I think it was somebody here. Let me see if I can try to find that one comment here. It was basically we got beat by like Jacoby Brissett, Davis Mills, Geno Smith, Trevor Lawrence, and they dropped 30 on us. So 4 quarterbacks that are not really like high level quarterbacks, but dropping 30 on us. And so there's a lot of things that we got to start thinking about here, because these are games that you should win. And these are games that we got smoked. And something's up. Preparation, once again, is not there. Something is not in line with this coaching staff. Something is not in line with even the players. So, it's very hard for me to be able to really talk a lot of positivity to this point.
I mean, Kenneth Walker ran almost 200 yards on us, dude. 214 yards against us.
Right.
Yeah, again, that's ridiculous. He's a rookie. He should not have 200 something yards, right? His long was that 74-yard run. We looked horrible on that. Like across the board, we looked really bad. Now, again, and then you look at Geno Smith. Well, look, Geno Smith only threw 210 yards. He was 20 for 27, two TDs and an interception. Bottom line, he's not that good. But this is where Pete Carroll's good. He understands that he doesn't have to do too much, right? Keep things simple. Keep things simple for what you have. And guys, make no mistake about it. You guys probably didn't see this video of me last season or before the season. I did a whole video on the Athletic where that Geno Smith was literally rated the worst quarterback in the NFL, the worst quarterback in the NFL. And I thought, oh my God, they're actually gonna run Geno Smith. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, insane.
But here's the situation. When you got a running back that's running like that, he runs for 200 yards on your offense or your defense, pardon me. You don't need a great quarterback. You need somebody to just manage the game, right? That's Alex Smith. I can think of a number of quarterbacks that are just not that good. Yeah. But my argument is that we have such a good quarterback that it should not be that way, period, right? No. Justin Herbert, almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. He was 33 for 51. Dude, like, what is going on? And, and you can argue though that, Pete Carroll is a much better coach than Brandon Staley. I don't know that
this guy.
This guy. I'm going to highlight this. No, bro, he sucks. He's not that good, dude. He's on a team that's performing well. That's the difference. That's what you don't understand, Lewis, is that he's on a team that's performing well. What we're saying is the Chargers as a team are not performing well, right? That's coaching, and that's the problem, okay? And again, you could argue and again, we've talked about this so many times on our podcast, is that, look, at the end of the day, in basketball, you can get away with having a great one player, right?
Yep.
We got Herbert. We got Eckler, we got Williams. Well, now Williams is hurt. Allen's out now, right? And we've had all these injuries. But my point is that you can't win with one or two good players in football. You have to have a whole team. Yeah. And that's where Pete Carroll's very good, right? He's done a very good job of putting the right situations around Geno Smith to be successful and look good, right? They kept the offense very simple. I mean, he didn't have any deep throws. He didn't have anything really difficult throw-wise all day. But at the end of the day, they made us look bad. Like, we just did not look good at all. We didn't execute as a team in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's insane because when you go and you got the comment there by Moto Records, Seahawks have an actual coach. That's why. And you start thinking, and that's where this whole, once again, you start thinking about that Sean Payton thing. He's a tried and true coach, a coach that has won a Super Bowl, coach that has gone into the playoffs. Not the best of success in playoffs and been relatively unlucky in the playoffs, but he's won one still. And he is known as like this offensive guru. He is known as this guy that can make things happen. It's interesting because Pete Carroll's a stud, and you could even go to the point, and I know Richie is on the chat, who's a Broncos fan, and I chatted about this, is that with actually another fan that was Broncos. I said, hey, now you're going to find out if the Broncos' current system right now is because of Russell Wilson, or is it the system that's in? We could clearly see that Geno Smith all of a sudden looks like the second coming of a young Russell Wilson.
Yeah, right.
The Seahawks. Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like the coach knows what to do and knows how to make a winning product on the field. And so this is the thing that you start thinking about, man, is Brandon Staley, like, mind you, I think Brandon Staley is an awesome guy. I think he's a great coach. Yep. I think he's very solid.
Cancer survivor, all the above.
Absolute stud. But now you're starting to think, man, if you did have a guy that's been there and tried and true as a head coach, what would the difference be? What would Sean Payton want to be? Because I do predict that if Brandon Staley, and now we're very, very much overreaction. This is overreaction Sunday afternoon right now.
Yeah, I need to check. Hold on, I need to check my freaking heart rate right now. I'm about to have a heart attack right now. Oh my god!
Yeah,
Yes,
no
go
doubt.
for it.
But
Man.
it is an overreaction Sunday afternoon, but
Yeah,
it is something that you start realizing that you're like, man, this guy just might be in over his head. Like he just
yeah,
might not
yeah.
be the guy. And it's tough. It's tough
I
to
hate
watch.
saying that too. I hate saying
I
that
hate it. I hate it.
because here's the thing: he understands players,
Yep.
but okay. So let's take a step back for a second, folks. Let's take a step back for a second. We get J.C. Jackson from the Patriots. He was an absolute stud on the Patriots side, right?
Yep.
So having a conversation with a buddy of mine the other day about this. We play a lot of zone compared to man. So in New England, he was playing a lot of man. He's much better at man than he is in zone. How could you get a guy from the Patriots come over to us and just absolutely be horrible? And I mean, literally, he's almost one of the worst corners in the league this year, and we're paying him $82 million. But my point is, you see what Bill Belichick did and what Brandon Staley did. Now, this has always been my argument about having a first-year head coach step into an NFL team. And again, Rich is here, by the way. Guys, smash that like button. Thank you, Rich, for making that comment as well, too.
Yep.
First-year head coaches are difficult, but this is Brandon Staley's second year, right? Look at what's happening with the Broncos. Look at what's happening with the Raiders, right? These things take time to fix. The argument definitely is Sean Payton, but again, keep in mind, this would be Brandon Staley's team that Sean Payton would be taking over.
Yep.
Is he going to struggle with that? Are you willing to take a little bit of pain at this point? Because again, it's not his team, right? When a first-year head coach comes in, they have to take over the team that was there before. And it might not be their guy, right? And again, Brandon Staley runs a very different defense than Sean Payton would want to run. Again, it's a different conversation. So, there's a lot to think about. And it's definitely hard to know what's going on. And I like how everyone keeps talking about Telesco. I think Telesco has actually been fine. I would say it's more coaching than Telesco. I mean, bottom line, these players, the job of the head coach is the one that has to actually make these players play correctly. I mean, J.C. Jackson's a great example. He clearly did not have a good conversation with J.C. Jackson to make him effective, and that's a coaching problem. So,
well, the other side to that too, though. So, and I was going to say within my point, and I was kind of going more on a rant than anything, but if Staley does end up getting axed, that also would probably mean Telesco would get axed. Now, does that also put in Sean Payton if he was to come in as the GM head coach? Would they give him that authority at that point?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. Ben Grimm, he said actually kind of a really, really good question. He says,
"Yep, I can highlight it here. Go, Ben Grimm.
Yeah, I like that one. Why the Chargers are always hiring first time. That one right there. So why are the Chargers always hiring first time coaches? McCoy, Lynn, Staley.
Yeah, that's good.
So we've chatted about that one for quite a bit, and
a lot.
Said, yep. And I said to him, and I responded to Ben. I said, "Hey, man, to me it boils down to the owners, and the owners want to find a way to be able to make a cheap potential up and coming guy be their guy, and they're going to give them this potential and this opportunity to be able to, grow in the league, and potentially they'll be the next Bill Belichick. Maybe they'll be that guy." That doesn't work out so well sometimes. And, with Brandon Staley, he's only been in the NFL for a few years. I think 3 years before he came into the or 3 years ago, or excuse me, I should say 4 years ago, into the NFL, and was it a D2 schools before that, or was it D2 or D3? I think it's D2 schools. But either way, he doesn't have a lot of experience in the NFL. He has an experience of 1 year of really, really good showing as a defensive coordinator for the Rams. And once again, he had Aaron Donald, one of the best and possibly one of the best defensive linemen of all time. And that can make offensive or defensive coordinators look really, really good. And so basically what I'm saying here is that we hire people on the cheap to be a head coach. It's like right now we have a Lamborghini with a Pinto based engine per se. We're just like, it's all pretty and shiny and looking great and everything, but we're missing this engine to really make this thing be what it's supposed to be. And so I'm not bashing very hard on Staley, but at the same side, you start thinking, why do we have 3 games in a row right now where we started out really slow in a deficits right from the
100%.
get-go, found a way to win in 2 of those, got lucky in 1 of those with a missed field goal. You start thinking, man, hey, like, our coach might not be that guy right now. He is struggling to make things happen, and we got once again a Lamborghini with a Pinto based engine right now, and something's missing.
Well, so my other thought would be this too. Bottom line, when Brandon Staley was at the Rams and they ran that and we ran that. Oh man, we got a lot of heated. Here, I'm gonna let some of these. I'm gonna let some of these threads come through here, guys. Wow.
Yeah.
Lots of heated folks, boy. We got some intense conversations coming through.
I love it.
We'll hey, guys. Hey, look. Hey, part of the reason why. Hey, look.
And Hogwash, I feel you, brother. I feel you, brother.
So I'm going to say this. The beginning of the games this season, we have given up points. Like we gave 10 points away right in the first quarter. And then our initial drives that we had as our, scripted plays, horrible. Like we didn't do anything correct.
Yep.
That is 100% coaching, right? So my point is we've definitely got to focus on being better at that. Now, I think we fire Lombardi at the bye. What do you guys think? Do we fire Lombardi at the bye? He's got to go. Like he has to. Too many fans have said we need to let him go, and we go from there. Now, again, Hogwatch, great question here. I want to throw this out there. Bottom line, Peyton would probably need to get paid what, $4 or $5 million minimum?
Yep,
might be even more than that. That's the conversation that typically the Chargers don't want to pay, right? But boy, does it really make a difference, right? I mean, you have to ask yourself that question. I mean, I think bottom line, I think the answer is we need him. We need somebody different. We need somebody to be here to change things up. I don't know. Yep. It's going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen. I feel like Peyton at least understands how to manage a game. I love Staley in the way he thinks. And he's definitely a motivational type of guy. Again, we talk about Church of Staley, Fourth and Staley, all the above. But clearly there is something broken or wrong. And again, we're winning ugly, guys, right? That's the part that concerns me more than anything. I want it again. What did I say last week? I wanted to see a convincing win. We didn't get a convincing win. This week, we completely wet the bed going into the bye. Now, there's arguments both ways where you can say, well, we were focusing on the bye. Was Allen not going to play? But man, like across the board was just so bad. So, anyways, wow.
So I just did a quick look of just looking at first quarter for us for our team to score points.
Okay.
Throw a number out there and think what have we done in the first quarter scoring points? Just guess how many we've.
Oh scored. Boy, you're asking me or you're asking the chat? Actually, let's ask the chat. How many points have we done?
Let's go.
So you said first quarter. How many points have we scored?
As a team, have we scored in the first quarter?
The entire season
so far this year,
I would say 14 points. I know we've gotten off to a slow start.
Yep. Let's see. I want to see what
7 points, 10 points. Oh, there's Kyle. Kyle just hopped in. This is Kyle, Fire Lombardi. By the way, Kyle's at the game. I promise you, he's probably pretty sauced at this point. So, yeah. So how many points?
We have scored 16 points.
Oh my god!
In the first quarter. But
wow,
on the flip side of that, though, they have scored 33 points on us in the through 7 games. Now, the thing about it is like, when you look at the stats and based upon the stats, we average 3 points of every first quarter of every single game.
That's so bad.
That is not good. And I mean, as the trajectory has been going for us, the last 3 games, obviously Seahawks dropped 17 on us in the first quarter. Then the Broncos basically dropped 10 on us in the first quarter. And then the Browns basically dropped 14 on us. Like, we're progressively getting worse to start a game and to be able to get into our flow of our game plan. And that's not good. That is not good. That is basically putting us in a massive hole immediately from the get-go and takes us completely off our plan. Now, it just seems like we're very discombobulated at that point, that we figure out like we don't know how to play football anymore for some reason. And we don't know how to adjust. I mean, now, once again, 2 out of those 3 games, we figured out how to way to get back in. But just like what happened with this game, we just completely got thrown off our plan, and that was a wrap at that point.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where this is amazing. I love this. This guy's awesome.
Chicken.
And hey, original Surfer Bob, you got to keep saying in here, buddy. I love your comments, man. You've been cracking me up the entire time. Look, so on a positive note, I would say this, right? Hey guys, special teams was amazing. Holy smokes, we kick ass on special teams. We can kick a football so amazing. I say that a little bit in jest because I will say this: our special teams has lost us games time and time and again, right? But having said that, this game, look, we are looking fantastic, and I do love that Brandon Staley's making that a priority, right? It was even part of what he said. Hey, look, I don't even want Spiller to start unless he can actually do well on special teams, right? And I truly believe that that's good that he has that attitude. But, oh, my God, it's so bad, the play calling on both sides of the ball, right? I feel like offensively and defensively, and last week we were terrible. Our play calling offensively was so bad. And don't get me wrong. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate this. I love your comments, man. But again, like I felt like we played very well defensively last week, but this week we just didn't. But again, we put ourselves in such a bad conversation. Oh man, there's so many messages that guys are just being blocked by by YouTube, by the way. It's so funny. I want them to come through. I don't care. I want them to come through 100%, right? I mean, this is crazy. Yeah. But look, bottom line, I will say this. Guys, the bye week is going to be very interesting. I'm excited. I feel like I'm in a drama, right? I'm on Real Housewives of Los Angeles right now. Guys, it's amazing. Oh, no, she's a bitch. Fuck her. She sucks. She's a total asshole. Oh, did you hear what she did? Oh, my God. She had sex with this dude or whatever, the pool guy or whatever. No. And that's what I feel like this is, right? This is a crazy amount of drama that is just going to boil over in the bye week. And look, my prediction, Lombardi's gone, and they're going to figure something out. And I think if they don't turn it around the second half of the season, then Staley's gone and we'll get Sean Payton, because Sean Payton clearly wants to be our head coach. I promise you right now, Spanos probably had a conversation or will have a conversation during the bye with Sean Payton. Yep. And I think those conversations are going to start getting hot and heavy, right? It's going to be really interesting. And Francisco, you have no idea how bad today has been for me. I'm a huge Padres fan. I literally wanted to just die today. It just literally was killing me to see what happened and how bad. I mean, we beat the Dodgers, for God's sakes, and the Mets. And then we just wet the bed against the Phillies. It just frustrates me. So anyways, and then the Chargers look horrible. So, okay. Guys, are there any positives? Like, in the chat, could you please put some positives down? I need a positive sandwich here. I need to end on something positive at this point. Because it's really become such an interesting heartbreak situation for me. Oh man.
It's tough. I mean, I'll say this. The positivity is we're going into a bye week. We don't have to go through another game where we're just like, dude, what are we doing here? And once again, this is a reset week. And that's really the biggest positivity that I'm going to come out of this whole thing. Austin Eckler will definitely put some positivity out there. I think it was some comment that just said that. Eckler, H4. No doubt.
I like Rich. Rich, you crack me up. Blue's a good color. Thanks, Rich. I appreciate that.
Ooh, that's a good positivity. Yeah,
Very
I do like
cool.
these navy jerseys.
Awesome, guys.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're making me cry. You're making me cry. It just absolutely makes me laugh. Yeah.
Yep.
Eckler's
But
positive.
yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, that I'll just say the positivity is going into a bye week. Let's reset ourselves. JC
Yeah.
Jackson's probably out for the season, which blows. I mean, that looked like it was a bigger issue going on either with a knee or some sort of ankle situation or something
100%.
there.
100%.
Um, that's not good. But hey, bye week, here we are. You better come out in that second at for the second half of the season. You better come out firing, man. You better come out firing.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. All right, guys. So in the chat, I want to throw this out here, guys.
Yep.
What do we do the second half? Right. I'm gonna throw out my thoughts. Okay. I'm a nobody. I played a little bit just from my personal perspective. I think we need to do a lot of two running back sets. I think we need to spread the ball a little bit differently. Um, the one thing that's nice about two running back sets is you have more abilities to move the ball around. I feel like way too often we continue moving the ball up the middle. I understand the conversation there because it's north and south, all the above. Having said that, you put two running backs on the field, you're basically splitting the linebackers and you're causing more confusion. Plus, you have the tight end who normally is covered by a linebacker. It just adds some additional matchup issues. I think we need to start going into that. Again, I 100% believe we're going to fire Lombardi at the bye week. Yep. If that doesn't happen, I would be completely stunned. Oh, yeah. Stunned. And so I feel like that's completely done. And moving forward, we need to start moving Herbert around a little more, right? He's been sitting in the pocket way too much. I think a little more rollout plays. And I understand he's got an injury. And oh man, there's so many there. By the way, guys, I apologize, but there's a lot of your comments that are just completely being blocked by YouTube. It's kind of funny. So I'm trying to show them all here as well too. But again, it's a problem when you start thinking about where we sit, right? Guys, we have too much talent. I mean, even Sawyer is looking amazing. Pipkins is fine, right? Zion Johnson's absolutely amazing. We are too good to be this bad, right? And so, yeah, and we should have fired Lombardi a while ago. Exactly age 4. We should have let him go a while ago. I mean, I think I did a video on this like week 2. He was just horrible, and he should have been gone. He just should have been gone, right? He's just not good, and he's not motivating them either.
I believe Motor Records basically give you a shout out. It says you seem more qualified than Staley. So, hey, let's get the Bolt Bros on that staff, and we'll be rocking this joint, dude. Yeah,
hell yeah, bro.
I'm really good at fantasy football. I'm pretty solid at Madden football, dude. We got this. We got this. Sign me up. Let's go. Once again, first time coach. Straight up, dude. Let's go.
I mean, look. Guys, and here's the thing too, guys, and remember something as well. In the NFL, when you're predictable, you're dead. And I've said this over and over again about Lombardi. He is so predictable. Norv Turner, every offensive coordinator we've ever had was run, pass. Now we're at least not doing that, but the problem is the plays are the same over and over again.
I could read the playbook now. All right.
That was awesome. No, but see, that's my point, right? He's become so predictable. It's always a run up the middle. It's always A gap or B gap. And every team knows that. They just keep linebackers in the middle. It's never a problem. We're never getting to second level. And then occasionally we'll have a good couple of runs here and there, but that's it. And so that's the problem. And you're right, Ben, check down.
All day.
Now,
all day.
But why is that happening though? Why is that happening? One, either the wide receivers are not continuing the route, which is happening quite a lot, guys. I will say this. They really are not running the routes 100%. So they run and then they stop. But secondarily, they're running the same plays over and over again. I promise you, if you go back and look at the film, most of the plays are very much the same across the board. They're not being creative in the play calling scheme at all. Right. Where's the jet sweeps? These are all things that were discussed in preseason with Gerald Everett. There's no jet sweeps. We're not doing anything different. There's no motion. There's no nothing, right? We're not showing anything to get the ball down, the field in any way, shape, or form. And last week was a great example. And Rich, by the way, just Rich is This is a great point. This is a great point. The check down is always the outlet play. It's always like, well, I'm in trouble. I'm just going to dump it. And every defense will give you the check down, all the above. They don't care.
Yep.
The check down does not matter. It's like, whatever, cool. We'll take the check down. We'll take the check down and deal with it on the other side. And that's the problem, that we're not doing anything interesting to get the ball down the field in any way, shape, or form. We're just not driving. And that is 100% the offense. So, yeah.
I just saw Carlos Charges said, breaking news, J.C. Jackson dislocated kneecap.
Oh, God.
Yikes. You know, it was interesting. Man. So I was thinking a lot about, I think it was Kyle that did a small video on Instagram. Just talking about turf versus grass. And like, whatever it is, man, we are just getting injuries after injuries on turf right now. I mean, it's bad. I mean, it's 100% chance you're going to get injured somewhere or another in the NFL as a starting player, as a player in general. But like going from practice fields that are basically just grass to basically turf playing at home, does that make a difference? It might really make a big difference with this. So, man, it's just the hits keep on coming. We got Slater out, we got Bosa out, we got J.C. Jackson out. Now, once again, we've been bashing J.C. Jackson, hoping for him to get better and everything like that. But, you know, it sucks to have these type of injuries. Once again, like it just starts making your talent pool go down further and further and further. And so
100%.
It's awful. It's awful to watch, man. It's awful.
Yeah. And again, you know, and we all kind of saw this coming though, right, guys? Because we were winning so ugly like, and, you know, again, it's hard because we have such good talent across the board, and yet we just get everything correct. So my other thought would be this. Again, I did a video a little while ago. Go back and watch my video. I talked about OBJ. Everyone was like, you're stupid. Why are we going to get OBJ? Guys, we probably need OBJ now, right? I mean, and what did I say about OBJ coming over to the Chargers? The only reason why I would even want him at this point is, one, he lives in LA. Secondarily, if we had some major injuries with our wide receivers, and clearly we have injuries with our wide receivers.
Dude.
Where's Mike Williams at this point? Who knows, right? I mean, good God, we lose Mike Williams, and who knows if Allen's back? I mean, this is terrible, right? So, you know, bottom line, we need people to step up. But, you know, a guy like Bandy, who is definitely a fan favorite. I love Mike Bandy, by the way. I want him to do well. But again, he's not a Keenan Allen. He's not a Mike Williams, you know, and, you know, it is what it is, right? So, unbelievable.
Hey, Spouts put a pretty great comment here in just comparison to our coaching staff to the Giants coaching staff. I mean, they're 6-1 with the same personnel as last year, including Barkley. I mean, for the most part, just the draft class is what's the addition to that team and the head coach. You got basically what's his dang name? Oh my God.
Brian Daboll.
Daboll, you got Daboll as the head coach, who did interview for the Chargers a year ago.
He did.
6-1. I mean, you got Daniel Dimes throwing Daniel pennies, and
he ran the ball quite a bit too. I was like, watching. This guy's got some wheels all of a sudden. What happened here?
I mean, you imagine if you had that guy as our head coach with a quarterback like Justin Herbert, what difference would it be? Now, once again, was it seriously? Are we just having issues with Herbert's, rib injuries? Did it get worse? Is it getting worse? Like, I don't know, but there is no downfield throws at all with this team. It's very much just small little flat routes and little hook routes. It's all it is. And dude, those aren't yak based type plays in my opinion. Like those are timing on the flat routes to be able to get them to go out. But the thing is, though, there's no speed going downfield with this team. It's destroying us. If there's not a trade that happens in this bye week, we're basically settling for just mediocrity going for the rest of this year. So I think it's something that we have to go after. Once again, I did a video on Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore fits the bill. A lot of people, I think it was Dick Trickle that said a comment on that. And he said, look, the thing
great
is,
name, by the way, guys. Dick.
Fantastic name. If you're on here, Dick, great name.
Cool.
he said something. He's like, he said, I don't watch the guy and I haven't watched the guy play. No, I get it. I'm not a Jets fan by any means. I'll watch highlights. I'll watch players. I'll see what they do. And I do know that he's a good route runner. He's got 4.34 speed based upon combine, mind you. You basically throw pads on somebody, he'll slow him down a little bit. But that is, even if he's at a 4.4 speed, he is faster than any wide receiver on our team, period. Mike Williams' speed was only about a 4.6 in the combine. He was a 4.6 in the 100%. Combine and got as the number one pick. So, mind you, he will smoke anybody on this team. He will be a downfield guy. He could be just a slot guy, but at the same side, hey, a slot guy with speed, guess what? You're Tyreek Hill, in my opinion. Like, you could be that guy that could get away from receivers or get away from defenders and find ways to make yards after catch.
Well, and that's what we need. And the Chargers have never really had that. We consistently just catch the ball and then just fall on the ground, right? We're not moving the ball down the field, right? And that's horrible. So, guys, the bye week is going to be fascinating. Okay.
Yep.
I'm telling you right now, when I say the Real Housewives of Los Angeles, that's what we're going to see, right? What the hell is going to happen?
Yeah.
Brandon Staley's going to go to the Spanos family and say, hey, guys, we are deep in a hole. We need to go get some players. That conversation's happening right now, okay? They're going to get aggressive. They're going to go find somebody to come in and fix the team. But again, you're going to have to ask yourself this question. How well are they going to do if we are not performing as a team correctly, right? And so that's the argument, guys. Like, we've had discussions all day. And again, a player's never going to throw their head coach under the bus.
No,
it's Brandon Staley's fault. It's Brandon Staley's fault. It's Lombardi's fault. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But you have to look at the team objectively and say, we're not performing. We have too much talent to have it go the wrong way. So this bye week, I think we go sign a wide receiver. I also think we're going to get a lineman as well. I think we're going to get a lineman for some stability reasons. We've had enough injuries on the line in general. Yeah. We need somebody. I think Darrell Williams is still available on the line from the Bills, like back in the days. I could see him coming in, being another guy that could maybe come in for Pipkins. Secondarily, I think we're going to get a wide receiver, man. I mean, in wherever Williams and Allen sit coming off the bye, man, it's going to be huge, guys, right? And again, I always go back to where Lombardi is, and the again, he was fired when he was with the Lions, correct? Is that what it was? And it was on the bye week.
It was halfway through the season, just like where we're basically at. Yep.
Okay. So, guys, Lombardi's going to get fired, and you know, I feel bad because you know he's a good dude, and he's got to figure it out. And just so you know, right, Lombardi was a big part of why Lombardi and Staley are friends. I'm very curious to see how this goes down with him this bye week because they're friends, but Staley's got to make some tough decisions, and this is going to be a tough decision, right? I've been in management before. You've had to let people go because of performance. And that's a hard conversation, especially when you're friends with people, right? So that's a big conversation right now. And again, this is a good conversation, guys, right? So we have $5 million left in cap. One of the guys that I've thought, and I wanted to do a video on this. In fact, I'll probably do a video sometime Monday on this about Joey Bosa. I think Joey Bosa's contract should be restructured. He's been injured so much, and he gets paid a lot of money per year. I hate to say that, but Joey Bosa is injury prone. He's had a lot of years where he struggles. So I think he needs to have a restructured contract. Another guy, Keenan Allen, right? He's getting older. He's struggling. He hasn't been on the field all season. So I think those are two people that should definitely have a restructured contract. And again, today I really thought that Keenan Allen should not have played. If you saw my video from a couple of days ago, I specifically talked that I think he should have come back for the bye. Give him another 2 weeks. Hamstring injuries, they linger on way too much, guys. They linger on way too much. And so Bosa's got a groin injury, horrible surgery. But those guys need to be, and again, we still got to pay Herbert. We got to pay Herbert.
Yeah.
He's going to get a fat ass contract. And so, oh my God, how do we pay all these people right at this point? This is starting to become an issue. So
it's interesting. S. Fouts 11 basically brought up a question a little bit about Herbert's contract. Now, once again, next year is kind of his first year. We could look at an extension with him. But it's an interesting thing that he says Does Herbert consider not re-signing with the franchise for the negligence on roster building and coaching turnover year after year? So, you know what? I've always thought this with dang near any player that gets drafted by a team and then he's there for 4 or 5 years and he's thinking, man, I know I could go get this money somewhere else. Like, why would I want to sign a contract where I feel like a guy is just and an organization doesn't really want to be able to put the right guys in the right place? Like,
100%.
and
Yep.
the side with Herbert though is that he does have a lot of like love for the Chargers because obviously it goes back to the Dan Fouts era. He wasn't even born when that era was really happening, but him being an Oregon based quarterback and kind of being that local guy for them in Oregon, you know, would he want to stay here and just stay loyal to this team? And I always kind of think about that for players that get drafted because you could go somewhere else and get paid somewhere else. You know, a team like let's say Seahawks. I mean, if they don't like Geno Smith, wouldn't they like to have Justin Herbert in their team? What if the Rams would like to have Justin Herbert on their team?
Oh, he would.
What if
any team would love to have Rams? Yeah,
the Bucks,
of course.
The Bucks, like, you know, it's the thing is though, like as a player, you do think I would think things like that. Now, once again, I'm not an NFL player. I'm just some dude that loves the team, you know, but like, and I love football. But if I was a player, I would think that. You go back to when Eli Manning got drafted by us and he was like, I don't want to play for the Chargers. I don't want to play for the Chargers. Okay, we drafted him anyways. Then we ended up getting a draft capital. We ended up getting Phillip Rivers, Sean Merriman, Nate Keating, a bunch of other like players added to this team. I think Sean Phillips was a part of that trade too, based upon draft picks. But you start thinking about things like that, you know, why did Eli Manning say that? It was because of the ownership. He didn't want to be with his team. So you start kind of thinking about things like that as a player like Justin Herbert. It's tough. It's tough. We are a 500 franchise. Since we've been in the NFL, we are a 500 franchise win-loss record right now. And right now we're one game under 500 now after this loss. And Justin Herbert's 14-15, I think, for his record now. So maybe it's even more games than that. But either way, it's tough. It's tough to watch, you know. And once again, Spanos doesn't deserve Herbert. He's too cheap. That's where I go back to that point that would he go after Sean Payton? Because, I mean, that's a $4, $5, $6 million a year base contract for a head coach.
Easy.
Who knows? So
and that's really where we have to sit back and ask ourselves these questions. What needs to happen to turn this franchise around? You know, and it's funny, we're talking about this as if we're like 1-6 or something like that, guys, right? Like we're 4-3, guys, right?
Yeah.
I'm not ready to jump off a bridge at this point, but I'm damn sure getting close, right? So this podcast may or may not be around here pretty soon. But my point in saying this is, guys, it's maddening when you have this much talent and then it doesn't perform, right? So again, let's recap for just a second. I know a lot of people are jumping in. Lombardi, I firmly believe, is going to be fired in the bye week. Okay. Secondarily, it's interesting. You know, Francisco made a really good comment about Spanos. You know, there was some real discussions, and I remember way up the chat here, they were talking about the Spanos family fighting amongst each other. There was some discussions about the Spanos selling the franchise to Amazon, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Right. And someone like a Bezos, man, boy, he would just spend whatever it takes. He doesn't care, right? The guy knows. Now here's where that conversation has become a little bit bloody, because he now is potentially bidding to win the NFL rights, right? So with Amazon, so he probably could not own the Chargers because of that conversation. If he's actually doing the obviously Thursday Night Football, but also, you know, what if they actually he gets the NFL package?
Yeah,
he can't do that, right? He can't own an NFL team because he would show a lot of favoritism. So it's a really interesting guys. This is such a fascinating conversation to me, right? I sit back and ask myself this question. My God, how fascinating is this conversation, though, right? Because I mean, I don't like drama. I'm not a guy that likes drama, but oh my God, this is just turning into like a big drama series of like, Yeah, we enjoy football, but holy shit, the drama behind all of this is just absolutely crazy to me, you know? I mean,
It's
you got
insane.
all this talent across the board and you can't win ever? It's just frustrating, right? Oh, it's crazy to me.
And it's interesting because like we have, I mean, as Charger fans, let's go back on this.
Yep.
We preseason we're like, yo, top 5 offense, yo, top 5 defense. Our
I
special
think I
teams
said
are
we're gonna
so
have 3
good.
losses. We already got 3 losses guys.
Yeah.
We already have 3 losses.
I mean, we only got 3 losses, but 2 of those 3 have been real bad, and
Yeah,
some
big
of those
time,
wins that we
big time.
had could have been real bad too.
Yep.
But it's just a lot of things that we're just seeing that we got so much hype, we got so much excitement about this team, and guess what? Underperforming,
Yep.
and it's I don't know why this quote came to mind, but it was talking about Rome, and I kind of put the Chargers will exist as long as, and it says Rome will exist as long as the Colosseum does. When the Colosseum falls, so will Rome, and
Yeah.
when Rome falls, so will the world of the Chargers. So I'm just saying, like, the Chargers will exist in our hearts, in our minds, in our expectations, and our love for this team until basically the ceiling has fallen in the Coliseum, or the team, the Chargers, has fallen in. We as Chargers fans love this team. We hate seeing this team not be at the level that we expect them to be at, and
100%.
we feel like the Coliseum is crumbling right now. And that is something that is really, really frustrating for me to watch. It's frustrating for my brother to watch. It's frustrating for all these 133 people that are watching this stream right now.
Yeah, and we know you're here because you want to say things that you want to get things off your chest. We're all frustrated. We're a fan base that's frustrated, and this is exactly correct, Tamori. Look, the defense. You can't win if your offense not score, right?
100%.
Period. Right?
Yep.
And you could argue all day Wheelers always win because they have a good defense and they score enough points on offense. Well, problem with that is they were on the field forever. That one drive, they took up almost the entire third quarter and scored a touchdown, right? And it killed us. Like, it was an absolute backbreaker for us, right? And that was the problem. So our defense could not get a stop. And you're right. The defense has still been great. It's been good enough, but offensively, it's been horrible. Again, I've said this 100 times. Lombardi's got to go. No matter what, he has to go. It has to be done. And this is great, Robert. I love this. This is good. Well, we're in a bit of like, I'm just having Marty Sean. I love Marty. Marty was fantastic. He was just absolutely incredible. Again, we fired him, Moda, after this as well too. We fired him after the 12-4 season that we had, which was just absolutely ridiculous. Like, why would you let that guy go? I mean, he was absolutely amazing. And and it just goes to show you that, look, good coaching is hard to find. And look, here's what I don't want to see too, though. I'm gonna maybe kind of wrap up some of my general thoughts about Brandon Staley, because I love Brandon Staley as a person. Again, he's a first-time head coach. Do we want to continue to deal with his growing pains as a head coach at this point?
Yeah.
Because I promise you, he will be a very good head coach moving forward. He really will. Think of Bill Belichick. Did not do great when he was with the Browns and some of these other organizations he was head coach with. When he went into the Patriots, he absolutely kicked ass, and he's been an amazing head coach ever since. Having said that, it took some time for him to get there. Now, do we want to continue waiting around for that moment?
Yeah.
We're here to see some W's, right? And we're here to nations. As much as I enjoy chatting with all of you, I want to win, right?
Yeah.
Just like I feel like that movie with Jack Black. Oh my gosh, I want to win.
Talking about
Nacho Libre.
Get that corn out of my face.
Get that corn out of my face. I want to win. If I could throw that GIF out, I would with you guys. Just so you know, I want to win. So again, that's a coaching issue, right? And I really firmly believe that we've got to do better, and I think it boils down to coaching, guys. I think it's 100% coaching.
Gooey Schmoogie said, I can't believe I can't believe I allowed myself to be emotionally invested in this team since 2004. Should we promote Shane Day to OC? And so
Yes.
I'll tell you what, Gooey, I've invested myself in this team for as long as I've known football. I mean, even up to the point where I was born in San Diego.
Yeah.
Before the Super Bowl that we went to in '94. We've been investing in this team, and it's basically been Spanos ownership the entire time since I've basically been a fan of this team. And so every year, it's just there's this frustration of this team always. And
Yep.
we as fans looked at this season thinking, man, we might have that mid 2000 defense that back in 2004, 2005, 2006,
Big time.
2007.
Yep.
Like those were just solid teams. Solid teams. Once again, that pain was underperforming. I was a season ticket holder during that time. And I was at every playoff game. I was pretty much at every home game, preseason game. And disappointment pretty much was what the ending outcome was for it. And
100%. 100%.
It's hard, man. But I've always reminded myself there's only one team that wins the Super Bowl every single year. And, at some point, our team will be that one team that wins the Super Bowl. And I'm looking forward to that day. I will probably jump on this live stream and probably have tears running down my face. I'll probably have my coffin ready to go over here. So you could just put me to bed.
I could die right now.
I'm done. Let's go.
Lay me down.
End it right now. But that's the thing about this team. I mean, I love this team to death, and I'm going to ride and die for them till the day I die, or till they give me a heart attack while I'm watching one of the games. That's pretty sure that's what's going to happen. So, but to go back to your question about Shane Day, that's the obvious choice in my opinion. I don't know how Shane Day is going to be as an OC, but he came from the Shanahan offense and Shanahan system from San Francisco. He seems like the obvious guy.
So. Yeah, I agree with that too. I think it needs to happen. So from what I'm gathering from this, we're probably going to let Lombardi go at the bye. Shane Day will most likely be the installed offensive coordinator. I like the idea of that. I think it needs to happen. Bottom line. I like this comment as well too, James. And if there's other comments you want me to highlight, let me know. Yep. This is a good point, right? Staley does not learn from his mistakes. Staley is a fairly stubborn head coach. It's interesting to see all the criticisms because one of the things you'll get from this chat specifically is you're going to get the positives and the negatives, right? We are never going to be here, blowing smoke up your guys' ass and saying, hey, we're amazing and we should win every game. Look, we wet the bed. I truly believe today we did. The Seahawks didn't beat us. We beat ourselves 110%, right? We made errors. We just didn't play well. And you could talk about injuries and things like that. But bottom line, Sony Michel needs to not be playing, right? Period, right? And I understand the conversation. And again, you watch my videos, guys. The coaching staff for the Chargers assume that we're going to get a spot in the playoffs, 100%. They're playing Sony Michel because they don't want to hurt Austin Eckler or have some of these other players get hurt as we're progressing to the playoffs and potentially the Super Bowl. That's pretty in our mind, because, look, we still got to get there first. And bottom line, you're running Sony Michel. The guy has not produced at all.
Yeah.
And I don't even know why we're running him anymore, right? It put the rookie in there, put Spiller out there. Spiller had one carry, maybe two. And, It's just horrible, right? It's one of those situations where you're just like, oh my God. And it doesn't make sense to me that that's where we're at. And by the way, this is me as well. I became a Charger fan when I was, I think, 10 years old. My grandpa took me to a game. We, by the way, came back, Jack Murphy Stadium at the time.
Yep.
Chargers, Seahawks. We came back and won in the fourth quarter. And now today is the day where we got our ass kicked by the Seahawks, right? So, it is what it is, right? It's one of those situations where, look, we got to be better, right? We got to be better. So I hope to God, and I swear to God, my grandpa was a diehard Charger fan. Dentist in San Diego, literally had 50-yard line tickets his entire life. And Grandpa, rest his soul. He's rolling over in his grave right now, especially when we lose the Raiders, man. I tell you what, oh my God. Oh my my God. Yeah.
Yeah, it's harsh, man. Yeah, and I just chatted, or I just basically responded back to this one. Is it to Marie Davis? I think is how you pronounce it.
Tamry.
Yeah, Tamry. Been a fan since I could understand football, ride or die. I want a Super Bowl, like, bro, come on. One. This is annoying. They just don't care about true fans. We suffer bolt up, but go. Good damn. It says good damn.
Goddamn. Good damn.
Yeah, I mean, man, I'm looking forward to that day, and it's going to come. I remember back when we had LT, and I'm like, man, it'd be an absolute shame for LT not to win a Super Bowl. And
Yeah.
LT even talks about this day is that Philip Rivers was the man, and I enjoyed the Philip Rivers days, but LT basically talked about, man, when they made that shift from Breeze to Rivers, he said we would have won a Super Bowl if we had Breeze going into that playoff series, because he would have been an experienced quarterback going into that playoff series the year after they left, or let Breeze walk. So they would have felt good about one of those playoffs to be able to have Breeze win one. So shoulda, coulda, woulda, but didn't.
Yeah, that's exactly right. No, and again, I know how this goes too. So, one of the other teams I do like the Niners a little bit, right? I guess are kind of my second favorite team because we grew up in that area. But, again, I'm a Charger fan through and through. I don't have any Niners gear. That's my stuff. I think, guys, this is a gut check time. Now, let's think about the bye week. All right, let's stop talking about the negatives at this point. Let's move on to positives. Think about this for a second. We got the bye. We're going to get healthy. I think we fire Lombardi. We come back and we're playing the Falcons. Okay. A very beatable team. Beatable team. So my thought is if we can right the ship over the bye, I think that would be a good thing. I think this is really where Brandon Staley, this is where coaching needs to step up and actually start kicking some real ass, right? And actually start showing that they can control the locker room. Because I promise you guys this week, there's going to be a lot of conversations. And Rich, you cracked me up, buddy. I love what you say, dude. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate it. Yes, guys, make no mistake. We have the best uniforms in the business.
Agreed.
But again, we have to show up after the bye week, right?
Yep.
There's no excuses at this point, right? We have too much talent. And guys, I watch so many videos on the Chargers and see every announcer and every sports person talk about Rich Eisen and all the above. They're always confused. Why are the Chargers so bad? And I'm convinced now it's become down to coaching. It's been a coaching issue across the board. What happens now after the bye is going to be huge. If I think they fire Lombardi, they make that change. If we come back and we are still losing, then Staley's gone probably midway through the latter half of the season if we start losing pretty badly. And then who knows? We'll see what happens. Sean Payton probably will come in, but Spanos is going to have to pay him $6-7 million a year for sure. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. And you're right, Francisco. You're a great point, right? So if you recall, if you watched my old ass videos, the guy that I wanted the Chargers to pick up, Tyler Algier. I told you guys he would be an absolutely amazing running back in the NFL. He's been amazing. He's an absolute beast on the field. I talked about him. God, how many times did I talk about him getting scooped up? I thought he would go in the second round, and he went way lower than I expected. We could have gotten him. So,
could
have, would have, should have.
And the one other positive going into this bye week is just for this team to get healthy.
Yes. Yep.
So if Justin Herbert's rib injury is really bothering him that much that he can't throw the ball downfield, you hope, okay, we got a couple weeks for him to kind of get healthy, at least one solid week, possibly not really doing much, practicing of some sort, just standard working out or whatnot. That's a positive. I know it's a little bit soon to talk about, but Joey Bosa will be about 2 weeks more healthier by the time the next game comes around. So he'll be about a month and 2 weeks out from his injury and his surgery. So we start kind of thinking about those kind of things, that health could be the big concern, or big positive for this team going into after this bye week. You start thinking some of these bumps and bruises that we do have too. I mean, if you even looked at like our injury report before this game, you're like, holy smokes, who's healthy on this team right now? Like, when did these all happen? JC Jackson's gone probably for the season or for a very long amount of time this year, which is frustrating to see an $82.5 million guy now being out. That sucks to see. But health to me is the big positive coming out of this. Once again, Joe Lombardi does get fired. I see that as a very big positive for us. Now, once again, I'll let you guys know, it seems like a lot of the moves that we've talked about on this podcast end up happening. So I know Telesco, I know Brandon Staley's watching our podcast. Maybe the Spanos
he's watching this.
What
are the Boat Bros going to say, guys? What are the Boat Bros going to say?
Yeah, throw some comments out there, guys, and let them know what you want to get done, in the bye week. Oh, yeah, that's great.
No, but your point though, James, like, look, you're right, but we're winning ugly, right? We're winning ugly. And if you think about the second half of our season, it is so much harder. And everything that I've read about the strategy moving forward is keep everyone healthy for the second half of the season. Keep everyone healthy for the second half of the season. Well, we're doing that, but we're still getting injured and we're still looking bad and we're still not looking good when we're winning, right? So we can't play the way we're playing against the Chiefs and expect to win, right? We can't play the way we're playing against the Bills and expect to win. We can't play the way we're playing as anybody, quite frankly. And again, it's very interesting to see what's going to happen here. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens at this point. So let's see. Rich's questions here's pretty good here. So let's see. He just threw it out here. So James, why don't you take this question?
Throw out one thing real quick, because Day One Dad said something about Andy Isabella being available, and I was a pretty big fan of his when he came out of into the draft and everything, and the Cardinals ended up drafting him and not really using him at all. The thing that's crazy, and once again, if I'm going to look at 40-yard dashes at the combine, if you wearing a shirt and some shorts running a straight line, he did do a 4.27 40. That's fast for a wide receiver.
Way quick. It's way quick.
Massive. Now, the thing about Andy Isabella, for some reason or another, he did not work out with the Cardinals. I don't know if it's, route running is his issue, or he just kind of didn't have a good system fit or anything like that. But I mean, once again, he's a small guy too, 5'9" guy out there. But once again, speed kills. And if you could get this guy to be able to work well in our system, I wouldn't mind just throwing him out there if he's on a practice squad or something like that. Give him a shot and see what he does in the system. We do need speed, 100%. So I expect something like that to happen this bye week. Have to find something to get speed on this team. So that's all I want.
Agreed. And Rich, this is a great point here. So serious question: if the goal is to target Peyton, you'd likely also want to not pay Herbert in the offseason and then see how he does. I agree with that 100%, right? Yeah. Because you have to ask yourself this question. Okay, he's got another year on his contract. Why not trade the fat for picks and go all in 2023? You're right. I think if we start losing pretty bad, then that might not be a bad option, right? We start trading off maybe a Joey Bosa, maybe a Keenan Allen, get some nice picks, and then go from there, right? Because look, Bosa's great. I love Bosa to death. I love him to death. But his injuries are stacking up. Allen's injuries. Injuries matter in football, guys. They just do. Yeah. And when you're paying a guy as much money as you're paying them, it becomes a problem, right? So, and that's a good point, right? We can probably get quite a bit for Bosa. We probably can get a bit for Allen, right? Start chewing the fat, just cutting people off and then getting some more picks, reloading, and then go all in with Peyton. I think that makes a lot of sense. Again, my argument has always been this, though. Is Peyton really the answer? You got to wonder, right? I mean, yes, he did great with the team he had for a very long time, guys. Let's make no mistake about it. He had the team for a long time. Yeah. They had some bad years. Is he going to show up and then all of a sudden start winning every game? There's arguments both ways on that, right? And so there's a lot to be said about that for sure. What are your thoughts on Rich's question here,
man? Yeah, so it makes sense. It makes sense because, I mean, you do want to see if Herbert actually could get to that next level. And I think Herbert has the skill set to go to that next level. I think he has 100%. The ability to be a highly elite-based quarterback. I do think that sometimes paying for a quarterback that's a franchise-based quarterback when they're injured and they're down, but the skill set's there, his work ethic is there. He's a guy that's very tuned into football, which all he talks about on his break. And I'm guaranteeing this week, and I say, "What are you going to do for the bye week?" And he's like, "I'm going to probably just look at video and watch as much video as I possibly can, and watch every single game, minute by minute, pass by pass, play by play." He's bought into football. So there's no doubt about that ability. Now he's gutting himself, or he's gutting to. Well, excuse me. Let me rephrase that. He's basically trying to do his best right now to be able to try to win games right now with an injury. He's doing his best to go out there and put his body on the line to be able to try to win games for this team. And he's injured, and it seems like that's definitely his fault right now that he's having. He seems like he can't throw the ball downfield. Seems a little leery about running the ball too. What I'm basically saying is that I think we kind of know this guy's a little elite quarterback, and I don't have a doubt about that at all. Now, Sean Payton's salary is different than teams-based cap salary. That's a completely different set of expenses for a football team in an NFL franchise. I think the Chargers can't afford it if they want it. It's just up to them if they do want to go after it too. So, I mean, I think they're only paying Staley $1 million, I think, a year or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's not very big. That's not a lot of money, in my opinion. So basically what I'm saying is that I think they're going to go after if this season ended right now, yeah, we'd be talking about Sean Payton. I'll throw something else out there too, because I think this would be a wild choice as a head coach. And now, once again, I'm speaking from fans that I've chatted with that are the Steeler-based fans, but they talk a lot about getting rid of Mike Tomlin too. And Tomlin's a stud. I mean, he's never had a losing season as a head coach. I mean, amazing coach. If Mike Tomlin's out there, I'll take him. I would love to have Mike Tomlin on this team. I think he would be phenomenal as a coach. The guy has won games, and he beat us with Duck. What's that guy's name, dude? That quarterback, Duck something or other, whatever his name was. That guy came in and played and just freaking destroyed us. That was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. 2 years ago? Maybe it's 2 or 3 years ago. But either way, man, that guy knows how to coach a team. And we'll see how it goes tonight for him, by the way.
So it's interesting. Yeah. It's a buddy of mine brought this up too. This is why I wanted to highlight it. Yeah. Would he come back as an OC? Absolutely not. There's no chance that he would do that, largely because he can get a head coaching job anywhere. He's like the head coach every team wants right now. And I will say this, Raiders want him. I mean, every team wants him as a head coach.
Duck Hodges. There you go.
Duck Hodges. That's right. Duck Hodges. Yep. So anyways, he wouldn't show up. And again, he runs the same offense, right? We're running the Saints offense at this point. So anyways, he wouldn't come as just an OC for sure. Anyways, it would be awkward in the in the coaching room in general. Anyways, at that point, right? So, this is an interesting point that Rich makes here too, as well. It was not Peyton, it was a GM. Exactly correct. He put him in cap hell for years. That's a big conversation too, guys. Right? And you start thinking about, again, we're having discussions around Bosa and Allen and all these guys getting paid a lot of money. Look at the Green Bay Packers, right? They're paying Aaron Rodgers an ungodly amount of money. They can't afford anybody around him, right? No. And that's the one thing I have always respected about with Tom Brady, or I should say Tom Shady, is that he's very good at understanding that if he doesn't have money, he's giving up some money so he can hire some people to keep him off the ground, right? Didn't get smacked around like an idiot, right? And, he can have a longer, career. Now that he's most likely getting divorced, right? It's smart that he's taking a smaller salary so he can have team, players around him, right? So it's really interesting. So I think there's a lot to be said about that, right?
What's crazy about them with the Saints and their cap hill that they were in this last offseason, I think they were negative $78 million. And then for some reason,
$78 million. Yep.
Yeah, and they basically renegotiated a crazy amount of contracts to where they ended up getting like 23 or 25 $5 million to spend on players. It might have even been a little bit higher than that. And I'm like, how do you have a turnaround like that? Like, that's incredible to see something like that. But Yeah, that is an interesting thing, but it is an interesting idea that if Sean Payton did come over here, would he want to be the GM too, and also the head coach? So,
He
because I
would.
mean,
Yeah, he
obviously,
would.
you think about Telesco, he's been here for 10 years, I
10
think
years.
now,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
something like that. So,
100%.
you know, what's not to think that he might want to just have full control of this team? Would that be a good thing or bad thing? Who knows?
Well, and I would also argue though that Brandon Staley has really been the GM for the most part, anyways. Too, he picked Mac to come here, he picked Callahan to come here, and some were hits, some were misses. But again, I'll just come back to this. It's very tough to have a first year head coach, even a second year head coach, be very successful, right? I mean,
Yeah.
make no mistake about it. They are. It takes time to get your team on the field, right? And I think this is hilarious. And by the way, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
I chew gum. I play softball competitively, and I always chew bubble gum as I'm playing. I'm like blowing bubbles as I'm about to hit the ball. So it cracks me up to see this. And I always thought it was hilarious. I'm like, man, I wouldn't want to be the guy on the other side of his head. He's over there just chewing a gum like a horse. Like, oh my God, just like chewing his gum. And motive. This is a really good point too. I will say this. Oh God, sorry guys, these messages are coming in pretty quick. So I'm hitting the wrong buttons. Okay, yeah. So Jay Jackson really is more of a man coverage guy. He does not do well in zone. 100%. He's not. He doesn't have it down. Now, well, he's out. Probably gone for hopefully not this season, but gosh, probably this season. We'll see how that plays out too. So, really interesting. I don't really know that. I think this is a good way of looking at it. Better coaches won today. I sometimes ask myself this question, right? Was it coaching 100% or was it just players not playing 100% to their ability?
Yeah.
Now, that's coaching, though. That's the argument, right? That's 100% coaching.
Yeah.
So, again, the question is, and maybe we should ask the chat this. Do you think that the Chargers head coaching staff or the coaching staff has lost the locker room? I saw a lot of arguments about that over, I think about 2 weeks ago. We had a couple of ugly losses, especially against Jacksonville. Have our coaching staff lost the locker room? I mean, because that'll be really interesting to see if that's really the question. Because you got to wonder, right? I mean, Denver, the Raiders, obviously, these are all interesting discussions. What do you guys think? Have they lost the locker room? Is kind of my question. So, I don't know. What do you think, James? Have they?
Man, I mean, the more you start having games like this, the more the players are going to start talking, the more 100%. That they're going to start chirping even more on these coaches.
Yep.
So
yeah, and it's a conversation, right? That's kind of why I'm highlighting this thought here too. Yep. Keep your thoughts, Sir James.
So I definitely think at that point, yeah. I mean, there's a bye week now. There's guys that are going to find out if they want to stay around and hang out. I think Justin Herbert said he's still staying in after the bye week. So he'll still be hanging around. But, some of these players are going to start talking, man. They're going to start chatting a little bit because you start thinking, man, these aren't games that we should be losing. And, and day one dad basically saying, hey, are we talking about a rebuild here? I don't think it's a rebuild. I think it's a retooling of the head coaching and the coaching staff. I think this is just like what Andrew has been saying and what I've been saying and what probably every fan's saying. The retooling right now has to be the offensive coordinator at the moment, at the minimum. The defense is done fine when they are on the field in certain circumstances of finding ways to stop drives. It's just that offense is not finding a way to be able to
predictable. Predictable is the word.
Predictable. Like I said, it's like a lot of flat routes and a lot of little hook routes. That's all it is. Like there's nothing amazing about that. Any defense, even a defense like the Seahawks is ranked one of the worst in the leagues. They would love to have you throw all those hook and flat routes all day on them. All day. 100%. And guess what? It worked out. They did a great job to stop us, and they won the game pretty easily on us.
And then when we talk about our head choices for new OC, it'll be Shane Day. It'll have him. He's the guy.
Yep.
Yeah, QB coach. I don't see anybody else being the guy. I just and look, guys, it's not that. Look, being an offensive head coach now in the NFL is probably not that difficult, right? At this point, what you're pretty much dealing with is you're going to literally have your analytics team tell you what's going to work, and you just play what plays, right? But the argument that we've consistently made during the season on our offense is that we become extremely predictable. Everyone knows what we're going to do. Everyone knows, all right, you got your, anyways, every single formation we do, we know it's a run. We know it's a pass. And if we know as fans just watching the game on TV, I promise you the defense knows, okay, this is a run play. All right, this is a pass play. And that's the problem. He's become too predictable in his play calling.
Yep.
So you need to switch it up, right? You can't run, pass. And way too many times, Lombardi was that way, even at the very first few games of the season, right? We were scoring horribly in the second half.
Yep.
No consistency, no creativity, nothing different, nothing to shake the defense in any way, shape, or form, or dictate what they're going to do. The argument is that they know exactly what we're going to do every time we do it. And that's the problem, right? You cannot do that. So we're not talking about a complete rebuild. We're talking about changing our offense scheme
that's a good way to start.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yep.
And the thing about it is with Shane Day, and I've been saying this multiple times in the stream, is that he comes from that Shanahan offense with the Niners, which if you go and say as a comparison, you could say, Mike McDaniel over at the Dolphins. Mike McDaniel's done some pretty big things for the Dolphins so far. Mind you, Tua got his clock cleaned, and he got a pretty serious concussion out of that deal. But that's one of those guys that came from that system and has done really, really well as an as a head coach somewhere else, or even as an offensive coordinator. Isn't also Packers? Did Packers head coach come from that same system, or is that the Rams? No, that was the Rams. He came from Matt LaFleur. Came from the Rams.
LaFleur.
But what I'm saying is that McDaniels is doing pretty well over at so far with the Dolphins. He's got basically a quarterback that came from the 2020 draft too, and he made Tua ball out. He had 6 touchdowns at one game or whatnot.
100%.
He did really well. So I'm just saying Shane Day could be that guy that could really help us out a little bit too. So I think that this Monday we have to hear something about this. We have to.
Well, and again, it's not just. Again, let's make no mistake about this, guys. It's not just installing a new offense, right? That's not what we're saying.
No.
Installing some new thinking on our offense, right? And being less predictable. That's the difference, right? I think we've been fine on defense. I mean, yes, the defense has been on the field way too long. And if you're on the field way too long, you're going to give up plays, right? That's exactly what's going to happen, unfortunately. But our quarterback, we're not making him have the ability to win games. That's the problem. Yep. And it's one of those situations where, yes, we need to think a little bit differently at this point. I know we're kind of beating things up. Yeah, but I mean, look, Sebastian looking good. Man, we've had moments us in bad situations, right? So I just truly believe that that's what we need to do. So I know this is getting fairly long-winded. I know, wow, we're over an hour and a half at this point. Wow.
Yeah.
So
we've been ranting for an hour and a half.
I know we've been ranting. My blood pressure, I'm literally, my head's about to pop. But guys, you're going to see a lot of videos from us. So guys, before we wrap up, please hit that like button and subscribe at the end of the day. I know we've had like almost 200 people in this chat at one point. We only got 33 likes. Please hit that thumbs up button. It does help us out a lot. Again, we're trying to do this. We're fans, right? We're real brothers. Continue speaking to Charger fans. So please hit that like and subscribe. I'm going to give my thoughts, and James, you can have the last thoughts, and then we'll wrap up.
Yep.
My true belief is that we are we're at a pivotal moment, okay, as a team, right? We're 4-3, which is not bad, okay? But we're winning ugly and we're losing very ugly, right? So the argument is we've got to get better across the board. Right now, the biggest problem is offense. We're just way too predictable. I think defense is fine. We'll get healthier on defense. Having said that, I do think we need to install a new offensive coordinator, fresh eyes, fresh blood, somebody different, figure things out, and just switch things up. That's 90% of what I think we need to do. Switch things up. And again, if you bring in a new way of thinking about things, it's going to change everybody's thoughts about the locker room in general. And guys, I hate to say it, but I know people are very frustrated with Brandon Staley. If you bring it, let's say you elevate Shane Day, could save Brandon Staley's job moving forward. I think it's probably the smartest move for Brandon Staley if he wants to continue being head coach. Because if he continues to keep Lombardi on, he's definitely going to get fired as well at the end of the season if we start really struggling second half. So, anyways, that's my thoughts. And guys, you're going to see a lot of content from us this week, right? We're fired up. You're going to see some videos. We're going to throw a lot of thoughts out there at you guys to engage with us for sure.
Yep. Yeah, my final thoughts. So I'm going to kind of jump on James Yopat's comment there where he says, hey, we're going to fire every head coach every time we lose now. Come on, man. Look.
I know. Agreed. Yeah, it's tough.
It's not – we're not going to fire every head coach after one loss. I mean, if that's the way everybody's NFL at that point, not for long, week to week, your job's on the line every single week. I don't expect that, and I don't think that. And I don't think that's the right way to do it. And that's not a good way to be able to run an organization, a multi-billion-dollar based organization. What we're saying is, going back to Anthony Rojas's comment, he says, ranting because we're all pissed. Like, this team is not being the team we hoped they were going to be. 100%. And we're tired of that. Like, we want our team to be able to be playing it the way they want to play. When you start thinking that, that's when knives start getting out and start, stabbing people and making people
100%.
Say this is the reason for the watch.
For the watch.
And so we are at that point as a fan base that we had one of the best off seasons we've ever had as an organization. Never seen anything like that.
Yep.
And we think, holy smokes, this team is going to be phenomenal. Brandon Staley's got his guys. He's got the right people. Now we go into here, we're 4-3. Cool. We're at least at a 500 record, over a 500 record. Awesome. Once again, this is going to lead right to a 9-8 team again. That probably won't put us in the playoffs. At this point, that will probably not put us in the playoffs. Like, we need to be able to find a way to be able to put some sort of energy into this team. There was a screenshot that I took from a chat that was probably one of the best ways to put this team in the state of this team right now. This was from the Los Angeles Chargers fans Facebook page. It says, this team has no spark. Lombardi is killing this team. No rhythm. Can't get anything going. Staley looks outcoached so many times. He hardly ever has these guys prepared. They don't have the energy to win for this coaching staff. They battle, but they look so unprepared half the time. My faith in this coaching staff is pretty much gone. So I think that's the right way to look at it. This was just a random post on Los Angeles Chargers fans. It was Charlie Bones Hennever or something like that. It was like a random Facebook post.
Charlie Bones.
But the thing is, though, it says Charlie Bones. I mean, that's kind of weird. All right.
Good job, Charlie Bones. Appreciate it.
Good job, Bones. But that's really it. This team doesn't have a spark. It's missing something here. And is it the coaching? Yep. Is it the players that aren't bought in the system, which has been something talked about? Like, are we not prepared? Yeah, I'll really truly say we're not prepared as a team. I mean, we've gotten beat badly by two teams. Somebody in this comment said, you think this is a beatdown from this Seahawks game? Yeah, we didn't have a chance 100%. The entire game. We never held the lead once. We got smoked. I mean,
and we gave them points across the board. We just gave them points. Terrible.
This is a straight beatdown. That's what this is. And this team is looking lost. And there needs to be a spark somewhere. Somebody needs to put a fire under somebody's butt, change some mindsets, and we need to be able to see a different team the second half. Because once again, guys, this ride's only going to get tougher for the second half after the bye week.
Second half is rough.
Very rough. So that's where my head's at. Yeah. It's not easy. It's not going to be easy.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I mean, look at the second half. I mean, I did a whole video on this. We play the Falcons, which we better smoke them. Then we play the Niners, they're tough. Then we play the Chiefs at home, they're tough. Then you and I, we're gonna be at the Cardinals game in Arizona. Cardinals look pretty good on Thursday night.
Yeah, they're
Then we
figuring
play
it
the
out.
Raiders, then we play the Dolphins, then we play the Titans, then we play the Colts, then we play the Rams, then we play the Broncos.
Not good,
guys.
Not easy. Yeah,
that's not easy, right? And so, I guess I'll wrap up my last couple thoughts on this. Is that I know well, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, guys, it's one thing to win convincingly. It's another thing to win ugly, and it's another thing to lose uglier, right?
Yeah.
That's where we're at right now as a team.
Yep.
That's my point, right? Is we are not looking like a team with any direction or any focus or anything, right? And I don't want to keep beating up on JC Jackson, but boy, what a dud he's been. It sucks to see Williams get hurt. Allen's off the field still. Who knows? Hopefully he can come back from the bye, but who knows what's going to happen with Allen. But guys, these are just ugly wins. And we can argue all day about who is to blame. Coaching is to blame. And again, Rich made a really good point that, look, at the end of the day, the coaching staff has to adapt, and they haven't, right? So, again, my prediction, Lombardi gets fired. We install a new offense. Well, it'll be the same offense, but just different set of eyes going to be running it. And I think if that doesn't work, then I think Brandon Staley's on the hot seat and probably gets fired, right? If he can't turn the team around. And, best of luck to him. It sucks because I really like him. I think he's a fantastic head coach, and I like him as a person. We keep talking about Church of Staley and all the above. But holy smokes, and you're right. It's tough. The NFL is hard though, guys, right? Every team has talent. But you got to show up every week to be successful. And the argument is, do we even know what kind of team we are, right? Yeah. Do we even know who we are as a team, right? Yeah. Do we understand what even makes us successful as an offense or a defense? And I would almost argue the conversation is no, we don't.
Yeah.
That is a problem. And so it's an interesting conversation, right? And maybe we'll just end with this last comment here. Staley's no being an NFL head coach. Look, across the board, guys, what do you guys think? Should Staley be a head coach in the NFL? Right? I would argue the answer is yes. And I would say yes, just because I think he's a very good leader.
Yep.
But he hasn't proven it, right? I think 500 as a head coach, in the NFL. Yeah. That's where we're at. So nothing exciting about that. So it's hard.
And just to say about that, there's motivational leaders and there's leaders to lead men into battle, basically.
Yes.
And that succeed at doing that. I kind of look at like Herm Edwards. Herm Edwards was like a really good guy that had just great quotes, seemed to be a good motivator of some sorts, but never was able to really find a way to make winning teams. Even with the ASU most recently, I was like, when he got hired for there, my friend was like, hey, how was Herm Edwards in the NFL? I think he's a good leader. He could probably teach a lot of those young guys some good life lessons. I don't think he's that great of as a head coach. Yeah. And some guys are meant to be offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special team coordinators, or, passing game coordinators or quarterback coaches or whatever it might be. Some guys are that way. Could Brandon Staley just be one of those guys that's just a good defensive coordinator?
100%.
Yeah, maybe. But was he just in a great system with the Rams and he had one of the best defensive linemen of all time? Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey. Yeah.
That makes people look good. People look good. And so, time will only tell a little bit further on that story, but, we'll see how this all pans out. It's still a long season, and you'd hope that this bye week is going to be the reset week.
Well, guys, as always, we're here to support you, and you're going to see a lot of content from us this bye week. I'm going to really seriously consider drinking an entire bottle of bleach after today. I'm going to fill this up with bleach. Right now it's Gatorade Zero. That won't kill me, but if I put some bleach in there and just chug it down, I'll be dead, because,
Yeah, right.
holy smokes, Lord, guys. Padres lose. The Chargers just absolutely get their ass kicked by a team that, quite frankly, shouldn't have beat us. Look, you respect the other team, of course, but at the end of the day, it's frustrating. Again, I've always said I don't ever have a problem losing a tight game. It comes down to the wire. They make a play at the end. It's competitive. But when my team does not show up, literally does not show up, and you just completely wet the bed on both sides of the ball, that's when I have a problem. That's when I start saying to myself, okay, there's something amiss here. There's something going on. And that's where I'm at right now. So maybe we leave it there and continue talking to you guys a little later on. And like I said, guys, if you like the content, please like and subscribe. Again, we want to continue chatting with as many Charger fans as possible.
Yep.
And give us thoughts, right? If there's other conversation points you want us to discuss, you want us to talk about certain things, let us know. We love doing videos on your questions, right? So I've done a lot of, videos on people's questions. So put some things down there and we'll go from there. So I know we already said this, James. Any other last thoughts? I know we've kind of beat the dead horse at this point.
Nah, we'll just wrap it up here. But man, I just want to say thanks for everybody. Just joining in. We're here to be able to talk to you guys. We're doing this for the fans. We love connecting with the fans. I'm in Arizona, so there's a fair amount of Chargers fans out here, but there's not as much in LA where Kyle is at. Andy's in Utah. There's not a lot of Chargers fans there too. We love connecting with the fans here, and we love hearing from the community.
100%.
We love the community. We love the team. We go through these type of emotions all around all the time with this team, and we just love being able to do a channel to chat with you guys. So we love 100%. To be able to hear from you guys. We love to hear your guys' support. And so, hey, we'll have more content out. Chargers will come back. We're looking forward to after how this bye week goes and how the week of the Falcon game goes for us. So we're excited about it, guys. But thanks, guys, for all the support from the Bolt Bros. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys so much.
Absolutely. Love you guys. And again, as always, we're here for you. Bolt Bros out.
Yep. Peace, guys. Let's go.
Let's go.